My name is Jane Akumu. I work for United Nations Environment Program in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a program officer responsible for urban transport issues in Africa. So I implement projects, environmentally sustainable projects, clean fuels and vehicles projects, public transport, promotion of non-motorized transport programs in all of Africa. One of the key issues that we have in Africa, the main challenge is actually sustainable transport. Transport, we know that Africa is actually urbanizing the fastest of any region in the world, and transport is becoming a key challenge in many of our cities. Every day we are seeing cities, the motorization almost doubling every 6 years. Unfortunately, most of the vehicles are old. They are inefficient, they are polluting. The fuel levels are bad for most of the African countries except 3 countries, the whole region. That is Morocco, Tunisia, and Mauritius. Those are the only ones with clean fuels. The rest of the African region actually has very high sulfur levels in the diesel, which contributes to a lot of the pollution. The vehicles are old, as I said, second-hand imports. There is no efficient public transport. Pedestrian and walking facilities are non-existent. So that's a big challenge for African cities and African countries. As UNEP, we've been supporting a lot of those programs. We are now collaborating with the SSATP to coordinate an environmentally sustainable transport program for Africa. The main issues, what are the key issues that will be looked at in this program? EST, that's how it will be called, environmentally sustainable transport project will actually be launched in the forum that is scheduled to take place next year between September and October. It will bring together African countries, decision makers, policy makers, the technical experts, the civil society to discuss how to start a program that will look at environmentally sustainable programs in Africa. The good thing is that it will look at transport in a holistic manner. Currently, yes, we know the challenges facing Africa, but it's too much, and I think it's not integrated. So you'll find, the public transport, people are talking about how to improve efficiency in the public transport. Non-motorized people are on their own also looking at ways of improving non-motorized transport, cleaner vehicles. So we're not looking at transport in a holistic manner. And we actually need to look at how do people move efficiently from one place to the other. How do goods move efficiently from one way to the other? And all this has to be intermodal. We need to look at, because for public transport, you start with walking, with cycling to a public transport mode. So we need to integrate all public transport systems, non-motorized transport systems, cleaner fuels, cleaner vehicles, looking at air quality, because the ultimate objective is to improve air quality in urban areas. So there is continuous monitoring. So we need to look at transport in a holistic manner. And that's what the EST program will do. We're looking at having this forum every 2 years to actually catch up and see where has the progress been, what the goals that are agreed at the forum, have countries moved forward to implement those goals. Then pilots, I think it's good to, it will be also an opportunity for donor partners to actually pick projects that can be funded and showcased at the forum and showcased as a project so that other countries can actually pick up. Just to give an example, for East Africa, we've been supporting non-motorized transport policies. So already Uganda has actually implemented a policy on non-motorized transport just about 2-3 months ago. We are looking at how do they operationalize this policy, and that's something that we can actually share during the forum. We're already supporting pilots. There's a pilot project that has already been completed for Nairobi, and we just collaborated with the government of Kenya to do to take one street and turn it into incorporate the NMT, incorporate cycling, incorporate non-motorized transport, pedestrian safety and such issues. And now any new project being built by the Kenya Urban Roads Board actually incorporates non-motorized transport from that. And that's what we want to showcase for countries, that it doesn't take a lot. It's just maybe a shift in decision making, a shift in infrastructure investment to support EST programs or projects. And that's what we are aiming at. Yes, definitely. We've already had EST forums running in Asia. Actually, that's the longest one running, I think about 7 years. The Latin America one is actually newly formed, maybe 2 or so years. So we're looking at having such a forum for Africa. It's very different, but they are learning experiences. If you look at Asia, there are fewer countries. They've gotten good support, especially on certain investment, like for non-motorized transport, air quality monitoring, which is something that can be replicated in Africa. But we also see differences, because Africa, East Africa is different from West Africa and from North Africa, and the progress is different. North Africa is quite advanced when you're looking at public transport, non-motorized transport facilities. Fuel quality, they've really improved, especially Tunisia and Morocco. So those are, and when you compare to the West Africa, it's different. So I think priorities will be different, and there needs to be a regional, sub-regional approach in Africa, because it's 54 countries that we're talking about. So those are quite different. So we need to have a sub-regional approach, having pilots and leaders, actually champions in each region will help. But it's something that we can learn from Asia, what they've done. And I think best practices, that's what we are looking for. Not just from Asia, even from Europe. What are the best practices? Just to give you an example, as UNEP also, what we're bringing into the forum, we've been supporting cleaner vehicles and fuels in Africa. And we are learning from what happened in Europe and the US. There's a lot of studies that have been done to show loss of months in life across the board when you use dirty fuels. So with such examples, we are seeing Africa actually, they don't even need to do studies. They just need to take the case studies done elsewhere and using those examples, actually implementing decisions. And I think Africa really has shown that they are quite fast in decision making. We've seen from one of the programs that we had, the elimination of lead in petrol, other countries in the world took 10, 20 years to eliminate lead in petrol. In Africa, it took 5 years for almost the whole of sub-Saharan Africa for the whole of sub-Saharan African countries to eliminate lead in petrol, less than 5 years. So I think our progress can still be fast-tracked.